black. Give me diamond watch, give me platinum plaque. I'm a goon or something, I make do with that. Ain't here to small talk, don't need the chat. Know that I was made in the lab. The scientist screaming, oh my God. Give him swagger, a tone beach bar. Let him hit the streets, let them die. What it mean to be great when you at halftime? When you're 20 years old, never had a touchdown. When you lose a control, all your brother's been gone. You're confused, you alone, never earned you a dime.
I got the gold, I think I'm gonna win. Race in the morning, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining our JustSayN Podcast with your girl, Laresa, and my co-host, Ferman Jackson. We have a wonderful guest for you guys today, and a lot of good stuff for you, a lot of good information for you. We are based out of DFW. We are a podcast, as you know. Look, we have the viewership, but what we need from you guys, and we want to say thank you. Thank you for everybody who has been there since day one, because those people are coming back always. They're coming back. They're showing us love, and we love it. And it's young people, and that is what we want to do. We are a community-based podcast. We have people that are on here that are small business owners, teachers, writers, particularly that are in our community, but not limited to our community, because it's all about love. It's all about love in everybody. And as soon as everybody come together, that is when we will finally learn the lesson of what love really is. With that being said, I'm going to give it over to my co-host.
Well, thank you for that, Lo. It's always a pleasure, and it's always a privilege to be able to labor among you in this vineyard here with Gateway 8082, based in the DFW, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. And to explain about the number 8, 8 represents new beginnings. So when you hear the word 8, Gateway 8082, it starts with an 8. So we know there is a new beginning for us all, right? And that's what we want to represent, a new beginning. But no further ado, this isn't just another episode. This is a moment where intervention meets identity, where HBCU excellence collide with the future of AI, where Black Wall Street isn't history, is being rebuilt. April 17th to April 18th, 2026, Little Rock, Arkansas becomes the epicenter of vision, strategy, and elevation. The 5th annual natural HBCU and AI Black Wall Street event, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., free admission, priceless impact. This is where leaders are shaping, where entrepreneurs are empowered, where the next wave of legacy is activated. And today, we're bringing that energy right here to you. Help us welcome a visionary, a builder, a voice for the future, Edmond W. Davis. That name sounds so powerful. Edmond W. Davis. It's not very, very powerful.
Mr. Davis.
Thank you. Look, I'm honored and elated to be here. Again, this is one of those moments that we don't get back. And so I thank God for both of you and your families for this platform. You know, it has to, be stated that, when you talk about whether it's a small business or an avenue on Main Street within a Black Wall Street, or a small classroom at a HBCU that only has 300 students, we're all connected, We're connected with this sacred time, this sacred space. And so I like to take advantage of what has been given to me. And 40 years ago, in 1986, I remember, I was a kid, but I remember sleeping at the Philadelphia train station, back when Reagan was president. And so here I am now, 40 years later, at a national event, being the director of a national career experience. And I'm talking to two awesome people on you guys' platform. So I feel like a kid in a candy store. I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And we are happy to have you. And we want to say, hey, we are giving you your flowers like we give everybody that comes on this show their flowers, because it's a blessing. It truly is. I mean, you could be doing anything today, but you chose to take the time out to share your experiences and what you plan to do to help your community. Now, I do want to say we are based, like I said prior, we are based out of DFW. But look, for those listeners that are in DFW, look, Arkansas is like, it's just a drive away. Okay. So this event is not limited to residents of Arkansas. We encourage you to travel and experience these things, because these things are like, these are once in a lifetime experiences. So it is wonderful to get out and just and understand that and get to experience those things and learn new things and get to know people, network with people. It's a beautiful thing. So we encourage those people here in the Dallas Fort Worth area to just do that. So with that being said, go. Let's get some information about yourself. Let's get some information about who you are.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, to your listeners, to your viewers, my name is Edmond W. Davis, and I love Sanford and Son, so the W stands for winner. Not just playing, but Edmond W. Davis. You remember Fred used to be like in the Fred G. Sanford, and the G stands for great.
Yeah,
so definitely, I'm a class clown, y'all. After being in the classroom all these years, I like to have fun and learn. If it's not fun, it ain't learning. So I definitely have to have fun. It shouldn't be all just stressful and you got to do this. And I'm like, hey, education is serious, but learning is all about fun and building bridges and building connections. I don't build walls. I build bridges, and I connect people to their best resources and to their best life. That's what I want to do. And so to that question, thank you. My name is Edmond W. Davis, born and raised in West Philadelphia. Of course, on the playground knows I didn't spend most of my days, but growing up back in Philly, 60th and Market Street, 52nd Street. Of course, those listeners in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I know that we have a rivalry between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Yeah, that's right. But I love you too, okay? We love you along that corridor. And so go Eagles. But definitely.
Wait. Okay, hold up.
She's not a Cowboy fan.
No. Yeah, because you would think, okay. Now
I'm a Cowboy fan. She's not a Cowboy fan.
I'm getting a lot of hate for this, though, but I'm not a Cowboy fan.
Anyway.
Look, friend, don't hate. Just because I love their stadium. It's nice, but I'm not a Cowboy fan.
There you go. I'm
actually an Eagles, but a Pittsburgh fan is my. Okay. That is my team, but feel that like the Eagles. When I tell you, I can tell you who my quarterback. I'm more of a player type of person. So when I fell in love with the Eagles back then, it was because of one quarterback, and he was a black quarterback. Unfortunately, he got in some trouble, but
we got
none the same. He was great at what he did. So
yes,
it is.
But I'm honored. Yes, definitely. Living in Little Rock, Arkansas now, which is about 5 hours to your east. I believe along the corridor I-30. For most people, get on I-35 and then I-30, heading into Texarkana and shooting another 2 hours straight up to Little Rock, Arkansas. So to your viewers and your listeners, you're more than welcome to attend this free experience. It's pretty much a combination of Afro Tech and Essence Festival combined, and it's a 2-day experience. And you don't have to pay anything, of course, just the hotel. But if you say that you're with us, there's a hotel block chain with the Hilton that gets you guys in the door for about 40 to 35% off. And so that discount runs out in 2 days, though. So by Friday, they're going to change the rate on that. And so I'm speaking to those who are serious about not just checking out Little Rock and checking out Arkansas, but also checking out some of the other opportunities that you have in place in terms of the vendors that will be in place. And, of course, we're talking about not just the African-American vendors, the Black Wall Street side, but also the HBCU side. And, of course, that's a unique triangle when we're talking about the National, HBCU, Black Wall Street. And they don't forget Career Fest, because it's not a job fair, but a Career Fest, which is a little bit more unique in that aspect. And so this is, again, great space. We have a number of people. I'm counting between 60 and 90 vendors altogether. And so, of course, on a bad day, we'll have about 50 or 60 vendors. On a good day, we'll have about 90 vendors. And, of course, the first day will be at Arkansas Baptist College. That's one of 4 HBCUs in Arkansas. We've got UAPB. We've got Philander Smith University. We've got Shorter College. And we got the mighty Arkansas Baptist College. And, of course, out of these 4 HBCUs, we're not in competition. We're in collaboration. And so we're all coming together, and we're hosting this event. Physically speaking, it'll be at Arkansas Baptist College, but of course the other 3 HBCUs from Arkansas will be in effect in place. And so it's kind of like what Atlanta has going on with Clark, Spelman, Morehouse, Mars Brown, all those schools. We have something from a smaller standpoint geographically with our HBCUs here in Arkansas. And so we're trying to mimic that. And, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're going to kind of do the same things along those lines that we do, but we're going to put our natural state stamp of approval on that. And, of course, we're going to spice it off with some GPS from HBCUs. And
I
so
know
with that
that's
being
right.
Yes, we're going to do it. And so it's amazing. This is its 5th year in a row now. We've been growing exponentially. And again, as long as we got God in the factor, God in the equation, hey, sky's the limit. And so, again, this is for any and everybody. But again, it's called the National HBCU Black Wall Street Career Fest. And so you got your pro-blackness, but also you got your pro-peopleness. But I'm all about pro-employment. I'm about pro-entrepreneurship. I'm about being pro anything that's productive to my neighborhood and my community that's legal. And so that whole aspect is what we're all about in terms of this whole event.
Man, that's awesome. That really is. And like I said, me and Lo, we do welcome you once again, Mr. Davis, to come on here to talk about what's going on in Little Rock with the big event that's taking place on April the 17th and the 18th. We love this. We love to see people of color striving to do excellent things that's empowering people. Because a lot of times in our community, and I'm talking about our community, we get showcasing so much negativity. It's become a new norm now. But to see a man of your caliber, a man that's working in excellence, a woman of Lowe's caliber working in excellence, we need to see more of that because they need to see a positive influence, especially when it comes to among our young people. 'Cause we got some youth coming on the show next week, but they are the next generation, and we have to lead and set that example for them so they can take it to the next level. So I applaud you, man of God, for what you're doing and what's going on. So let's get at it. So let's talk about it. The originated, you said this is the 5th annual, so congratulations on that. 5 is the number of grace, of course. So let's talk about that. Take us to the beginning of when it first originated.
Yeah, how
Okay.
has your personal story shaped your passion for empowering your students and professionals?
Well, thank you. I was asked to come aboard this campus, Arkansas Baptist College. Now, when I moved here, I was recruited from the University of Arkansas to come to Arkansas and teach at U of A Little Rock. So that was like 24 years ago. I had hair back then, so I was a little different. I'm 50 now, so I was probably about 25 or 26 years old when I got the call to come here. And my big brother, who's now retired, he was a Little Rock police officer. He allowed me to stay with him for a couple of months until I got off my feet after graduate school. And so we've taken off ever since then. But teaching at these other colleges and universities for the first couple of years was different. But my life changed when I became a professor of history at Arkansas Baptist College. So fast forward 18 years later, I've been there. And so they asked me to become director of career services because of my social background, because of my social capital, because of my, emotional equity in terms of my emotional intellect, my word on the street. I got a lot of friends that are felons, ex-felons. I got street credit. So they wanted me to use my street credit to bring in more students who want to be in position to change their condition. And I've noticed that, and we already know this, I'm preaching to the choir, the less jobs that you have, well, the more jobs that you have, the lesser the crime rate is. High unemployment rate, high crime rate. That's pretty much like peanut butter and jelly. Yeah. So I noticed that these brothers and these sisters, these great people, were not being hired at the capacity as people who had backgrounds or who were not their color. And so I said, hey, we need to go ahead and find out how to change that trajectory. So they switched me from being professor of history full-time to being over career services. But before that, I was also able to be a director of a research institute at the HBCU, and that was called the Derrick Olivier Research Institute for the Prevention of Black-on-Black Violence. And so that was interesting because when I was director for 2 years of research, I realized something that I already knew in my heart, but now I got data to back it up. And that data tells me that every 50 minutes, a black male is killed by another black male. It's sad, it's gross, I can't stand it, but we have to have that uncomfortable conversation if we want to seek solutions. We have to figure out what the problem is, but not just the problem, but how do we seek solutions during that? And so I'm about seeking solutions. And so we found that some of the solutions was being employed. It ain't all the buck stops and all answer to all things, but having a job, having a career does minimize criminal activity. You know, you're not trying to get that quick fix, sell that dope when you're tired from working all day, plus you're doing some other things that are positive. So again, they moved me from being the research director and professor to being director of career services. And so my team said, hey, professor, why don't we talk about having an all Arkansas HBCU career fest? I said, hey, that's a good idea. Let's take it a step further. Let's have an Arkansas HBCU Black Wall Street career fest. And so it used to be an Arkansas thing, an Arkansas HBCU Black Wall Street career fest. This is 2022, 4 years ago. And boy, I tell you guys, it went from a first floor inside of a building, one level, to now we have a stadium packed with a college campus and a stadium. And so it's gone from one level at a college, just one floor with maybe 30 vendors, to now 60 to 90 vendors at a stadium, or rather a Hall of Industry complex and an entire college campus. And so God is good all the time. And so, of course, having that in place, having people in place, and this is different because we're asking African-American business owners who can actually afford to hire a college graduate. Now, we all know only 4% of black-owned businesses can actually hire somebody full-time, paying them $60K. Most of our black businesses cannot do that. They're working for themselves, okay? Or they're having a part-time worker, or they're hiring family members. That wasn't always the case until about the last 50 or 60 years. Going back 110 years, we hired each other. That was the Black Wall Street Day, okay? Back in 1915, back in 1910, when Booker T. Washington came to Little Rock, Arkansas, he talked about the promise of being entrepreneurs. Him and W.E.B. Du Bois had it out back and forth. Y'all know about that, but they were on the same page as in terms of having a black power structure in place. And so that's what we talk about having and positioning our people to actually work for each other, to talk about economic equity, to talk about financial literacy, to talk about, now in this case, AI modalities in place. A lot of times we talk about AI, but we don't really know the simplexes to it. I'm the director and the founder. I don't even know all the simplexes to it, you know? I don't know everything, but I surround myself around people who are smarter than me or just as smart as I am. And I think that's the key. A lot of times we're suffering, and this is a caveat, a sidebar, to those listeners out there, regardless of your color, your ancestry, your heritage, your lineage. I mean, I speak 4 languages, but I'm speaking in English right now. But we're talking about how individualism has hurt us as a community. All of us black folks, we're doing our own thing on the side here. We're not coming together. And so I saw all of Arkansas's 4 HBCUs. ABC was doing their own thing. Philander was doing their own thing. Shorter College was doing their own thing. Arkansas Baptist College was doing their own thing. And I got tired of that, saying, hey, we're not growing as a people. Let's come together, put our differences to the side. Let's swallow our pride, swallow our egos. We know ego means EGO, edging God out. Let's not edge God out. Let's keep God in the conversation. Let's pray about what we have to do. Let's bring our ideas to the table, okay? Let's pray on that, and let's see how we can seek these solutions together. That's what our oppressors are doing. Our enemies are doing the same thing. They're working together. They don't get along, but they get along when it comes to us. And so we have to make sure that we're not sidebar contracted and that we're not talking about and not throwing anybody under the bus, but whether it's Stephen A. Smith talking some crazy stuff or Nick Cannon having a bunch of conversations about Trump or what Chile is doing. These are all distractions, folks.
It is.
To get us to talk about that. And then about what the president's doing or at the local level, what these municipal officers are doing. We have to kind of get back to us and figuring out how can we get ahead of the game and using our own resources. We had 6,000 grocery stores 105 years ago that were black, 6,000. Name 6 black grocery stores in America today, okay, that are black owned. And so we have to kind of go back and look and see what we've done 110 years ago to figure out where we're going the next 10 years from now. And so this area that we call the National HBCU Black Wall Street Career Fest is bringing black business owners together. Now, if my Caucasian folks want to come, y'all family too, I love you. Come on through if you got your heart in the right place. Come on through, because everybody white ain't bad and everybody black ain't good. I want those people in place who have the right mind and the right concept and the right frame of mind that want to help people. I don't care what color you are. You got some Asians, some Latinos that are not good, but some that are good, some are bad. You got some guys that look like me that are rotten to the core. So, you know, I want to make sure that we got the right people in place, you know, regardless of their color and ancestry. But again, we're not changing the mission. We're not changing the focus, which is about HBCUs, and it's about Black Wall Street. Okay, we want to make sure that people know that this whole dynamic is about how we've been successful in the past. I look at how Asians, when it comes to my sisters and them getting their hair done, the kits with perms and all the wigs, they got to go to Supreme Beauty. All those areas are run by Asians. They have a monopoly on that. And that wasn't until about the early 1950s. But go back 10 years before the 1950s. It was the 1940s when we dropped bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. When we interned Japanese Americans who lived in Arkansas and in California, we put them in jails and in internment camps. But now when it comes to funding, Asians get the money first. Latinos get the money fourth. Caucasians get the money after that. We get the money last. You know, we get the money last, and it's our neighborhood. And so we have to kind of figure out ways to strategize and say, okay, all right, enough with the passivity. Let's all put our differences to the side. Let's see what kind of resources that we have, and let's address Black Wall Street, the past successes. Let's address HBCUs because we all know that they're both knee-jerk reactions. HBCUs were started because we couldn't get into Penn State. We couldn't get into UCLA. We got Grambling. We got Jackson State. We got FAMU. We got Howard University, which is named by a white man, by the way. But again, so was Spelman. People don't know that these HBCUs, 40% of them were started by white folks. And I ain't got no problem with that. But let's have that uncomfortable conversation first, and let's seek solutions along the way. And that's what we do with the National HBCU Black Wall Street Career Fest. We bring people together. We tell them what it's about. We have the vendors out. We talk about the history. We praise the Lord, but we also talk about economic achievement. How can we strategize? How can we partner? And again, put our position in place for our college students to be successful.
That's, oh man, you have, like, while you were talking, my brain was just like running here. So I do have to ask this here, with the career that you have, with the things that you're responsible for, how do you think affirmative action, the elimination of it, DEI, is it a good thing in your opinion, a bad thing in your opinion, or gentrification? Because, and I'm just going to use a small example. My area that I've lived in was the only area, I'm 80s baby, I was born 1980. But my area was the area that Black people were pushed in. Okay. I lived in poverty. That was the area for Black people. Now it has been gentrified. I refuse to patronize any of those shops. I remember going there and looking at the servers and looking at the workers there and looking at the owners. None of them were from West Dallas. None of them. And they're looking at me like, what are you doing over here? And I'm looking at them like, what are you doing over here? Right, so, right. You know, I'm just like, you're taking over land, you're taking over businesses, but you're not giving back to the community that you literally took over. Right. And I have a problem with that, especially with the city of Dallas. Now, I don't have a problem with beautification or making something better, but you have to include the people that were originally there. You have to include the culture. You cannot forget about that, because that is what made that area, especially when you are running out people due to the taxes going up and stuff like that, because of, you know, all of that stuff, because of people coming in buying homes. And now where a home was literally like $60,000, $70,000, now they're like for real, $500,000. That is crazy to me. That is super crazy. My taxes went up like $4,000 in a year on just land alone. So with your career, with everything that you are responsible for, what do you have to say about that?
We have something in common. I would say the year was about 2017, 2018. My wife and I opened up a t-shirt store because one of her skill sets is, she opened up a t-shirt store, my wife and I. This is in Little Rock, Arkansas, and this is in 72209. So for those listening, looking up zip codes and the people, the demographic that stay in certain zip codes and what funds are allocated towards those zip codes, it's important, especially if you're an entrepreneur. But I want to give that caveat before I say this. We opened up a t-shirt store with the greatest intentions of mine of making probably about $20 per shirt. That was the idea. And this is before Amazon took it to the next level and did what they started doing with what they're doing. But saying that, we built our store from ground up, and there was an Asian restaurant, I would say, 200 yards away. I would invite students to come to my store. I would pay them by food. I wouldn't pay them with cash. I would pay football players with food because they were like, Professor, we're trying to get off campus. What you got for us? I would always compensate them with food, meals. I would always take them to the Asian cuisine place, and I would feed them. Or go to Captain D's or whatever fast food that they wanted. I would kind of compensate them with nourishment instead of having you give them money. They're like, look, bro, we just want to get off campus, Professor. Please help us. We'll sweep up the floor. We'll paint the walls. Please take us off this campus. And so I provided some strategy for them to actually become LLCs and painting and things of that regard, talking about Black Wall Street. But watch this. So I used to eat the food at the Asian place, and this may be a little bit too much information, but for the last 30 years of my life, I haven't eaten meat. I've been a vegetarian and a pescatarian. So I've been a pescatarian. I eat seafood and vegetables. I don't eat pork, beef, chicken, turkey, or none of that stuff. It's been 30 years now, since 1996. But here's my point. When I go to the Asian cuisine, I identify what food is the healthiest from Asians, and I eat what they eat because I see they live just as long as a lot of people do when you go to Japan and different parts of the countries. So I'm over in this restaurant, right? My store is just 200 yards away. They know who I am. I told them, hey, I'm building a store right across from y'all. Why don't y'all come and grab a T-shirt? I'm eating your food here. The food is great. They would say, okay. They give me a thumbs up. This happened for like 2 months. I'm building my store. They didn't come by not one time.
Ooh.
Watch this.
Ooh.
I would go in there and eat that food and spend $10, $12 on the buffet every day for 5 days a week for maybe 2 months. Hey, y'all come by my store. Come get a T-shirt. Y'all give you a discount. Okay. They never came through. They don't live in the neighborhood.
$12? How much was the buffet?
The buffet is probably between $10 and $12. It was worth it. But watch this. The food was real good, but every time I went in there and got my little cup, you know, you get the little tray when you get it to go and you get a little sauce cup. I would always have to ask for my sauce cup every day. Like, come on, y'all. Y'all know me. I'm right across the street. I really have to ask for a sauce cup every time I come here. Can I get my sauce cup? I'm thinking, wow. So that's on my radar, by the way. So then I would ask them to come over and get y'all a shirt. Hey, let's collaborate. Let's talk about ways that we can both win. I give y'all $100 a week eating food over here. Y'all don't invest back nothing with my store. So that got on my radar number 2. And then I asked them for a cup. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So I told them before I left, I said, hey, I appreciate your food. It's great, but I'm going on a financial boycott. I'm no longer going to support you guys because y'all don't show the inkling of supporting me. It's just a one-way street, and I know my worth. And so, again, God bless you. Much kudos, much respect to y'all. And so that was 2018. So that was, 8-9 years ago. I haven't been back there since. They're still open. They're doing well. But at the same time, most people that support them are Latinos and African Americans. Okay? And so to your point, sis, it's like this. They don't support us for the most part. I can't speak for all of them, but I go back to remember this movie. Y'all both can identify with this movie. It's called, and I'm going to sit up in my chair when I say this, Do the Right Thing.
Oh, yeah, Spike Lee.
Remember Do the Right Thing?
Yeah, Spike Lee.
The Energizer. And they got into it about a battery. But the real complex behind that battery is that we're not speaking the same language. Okay? And so that language is the language of money. Yes, you come to our town. I'm all for capitalism, legally speaking. But when the system is not broke, y'all, it's designed that way to where Asians get the money first, or excuse me, my Caucasian, my European Americans, my Anglo-Saxons, they get the money first. I don't say white. My Anglo-Saxons get the money first. Then the Indians get the money first. After that, the Indians get it second. And then after that, Asians get the money, and then after that, Latinos get it, and then we're the last in our own neighborhood to receive funding. But getting back to the housing part, you know, with the regentrification, like you said, the house was worth 37K. You fix it up, maybe 70, 80K, maybe 100K. But now, after you pay black folks to leave, it's 400, 300,000.
100. Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm thinking, wow. I'm looking at Little Rock. I'm looking how the city's structured, how it's set up, the gentrification. We have Interstate 630. It's not a major interstate. By that, it runs through different states. No, it's an intra-interstate to where it runs just through one city. Watch this. On one side of 630, most of the people living there are impoverished. They look like me. On the other side of 630, that's deep pocket money over there. The mayor, and a shout out to Mayor Frank Scott, the mayor said himself when we both were running, because I ran the same year he won, he said, hey, he said this. He said, I'm from Arkansas. I'm from Little Rock. I've never been to this side of town until I was a college graduate. And so, again, certain money attracts certain people. Over there, and I've been over there quite a few times, it's called the Heights. Over in the Heights, most of the people live over there, they're in different tax brackets. Now, remember, on the other side of 630, most of the people who live over there make about 30K a year, if that. And so that line of demarcation was Interstate 630, which used to be, guess what? Black Wall Street. They decimated that area. Of course, it's called the Urban Renewal Program, but to Professor Edmond Davis, it's called the Negro Removal Program. Okay? That's what it's really called.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's called. They just kind of legalize it. And so instead of burning folks and lynching us, they'll go ahead and build a highway through, give you a few dollars of what it's worth, and they'll run you out of town from that aspect. And so that's what happened in Little Rock and many other metropolises around the place. But you know, to your question, I wanted to make sure that I answered that. And what I think about that is that the system's not broken. It's designed that way to get us in that rut. But again, that was one of the things about desegregation that hurt us. That was one of the biggest things that hurt us, you know, was desegregation. Because when we were forced to actually spend our own money, financially speaking, we were doing better. Besides the NBA and pro sports, and you got your Langston Hugheses, your Jim Browns, those who are your Ella Fitzgeralds, those that have those kind of gifts. Everybody ain't a Jim Brown. Everybody's not, you know, a moving on up, George Jefferson. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Everybody's not George Jefferson. So we didn't kind of, you know, take it from that path. And so I'm talking to the common folks who are the blue-collar workers, the people who are, transparently speaking, didn't go to college, and some didn't go to college and making more than me. And I got all these degrees. So I ain't better than nobody, you know, but again, I want to make sure that we're successful, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I do. I love it. This is
correct.
this is powerful. It really is. I feel the power all on this podcast today as well. And like I said, we do thank you, Mr. Davis, for what you're doing and what you set out to accomplish, because this is what Mitch needed. Because as you speak to the heart, you speak to the spirit of the man and woman that's listening today to be fully empowered and be equipped. And going to the scripture, go biblical for a moment. The Bible does say that God has given us dominion. The dominion meaning be rule, govern within the earth. So he's given us those abilities to do that. And I know in scripture tells about it in Deuteronomy 8:18 that God gives the power to get wealth that he may establish because he made with our forefathers. So we know entrepreneurship has been around for centuries. I recently found out that my dad's father, he was an entrepreneur. He started his business at 13 years old, and he was a shoe sign business.
Wow.
And I seen business of my grandfather, and he wore business suits all the time. That's all how he dressed. So that really inspired me that wow, that my grandfather was an entrepreneur, and he started at age 13. You know, so it's a beautiful thing to be able to see that. So
Yes.
we talk about the AI. We see the it's taking over. The chat is taking over. And we know for years they was pushing us to get into this industry for years. And a lot of it, we didn't take it serious. We want to be like an athlete. I want to go into athlete. I want to be an athlete. But they've been
Right.
pushing that when I was in school, because I was born in 82. So I'm 80 baby.
I think that's the difference, though. It's because of our generation and because of the technology within the children now. Well, I can't call them children, but you know, our young teens or
Right.
young adults. It's because we were raised by baby boomers. I mean, that's just what it was. We were raised to, and I totally agree with you on segregation. to be perfectly honest, I've always felt like segregation has hurt us as a community because it forced us not to push harder to get things for ourselves, because you had no other choice. You had no other choice, just like your family, Jackson, you found out that you had entrepreneurs in there. My grandmother, she had 15 homes. My grandmother and grandfather had 15 homes in West Dallas. They would be millionaires had I taken over that business. But you give a little bit money. She gave them to her daughters. You give a little bit of money to people who's been spoiled all their lives and who doesn't have money or who hasn't seen a lot. I tell people all the time, look, 70,000 is literally nothing. 100,000 is literally nothing. That is an annual salary. You will run out of money unless you invest it or unless you're able to turn it around or keep on getting it. Yeah, it's gonna go away. So yeah, you're complete. Yeah, it's so much. I mean, this topic is like super fast. Like we can go on and on about it. But you're right about the AI, Jackson. I just feel like though we were pushed to not even like see it because I don't know what kids these days because they're so dependent on technology. There aren't any textbooks. I'm not seeing any textbooks where I would my little niece, one of the guests that's going to come on for next week, she showed me her notebook for her career path looked like a textbook. And when I tell you it's beautiful, I just love it. I love it. I always love taking down notes. I just love it. My son he don't want me to call him a nerd, but he really is. Like when you're taking pictures of your cousin's notes, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, he was like, oh, her notes are immaculate. And they are. And I have not seen kids take notes down like that. But luckily, because we are still her father, which is my brother, and me, still we lived in that era where textbooks was a thing. She does it. She's 21, but technology is one of those things that she is definitely a part of, just like all the kids that are coming on the show next week. And that's the one thing that they are pushing, and they were trying to teach me about AI, and I'm like, what? Okay, they were trying to. I was like, okay, well, how do you do this? Well, how do you do that? I even have to ask Jackson. I'm like, Jackson, hey, and I'm sorry, we kind of sometimes we go by last names because we work in law enforcement, so it's typical. So sorry, Ferman. So
it's all good. It's all good.
I had to ask him like, yo, how do you do this? How do you do that? I feel old now, like Jesus Christ. Like I mean, how do you distinguish, like how do you relate to that in your like with the students, like especially with the age gap, the things that we have learned? How do you relate to your students to get them to be a part of what you are talking about? Because it's hard. They don't want to listen to their parents. You know what I'm saying? They want to listen to someone where they feel like they're being heard by, like, what do you do?
Right. Great question. What do I do is, and I want to back up a little bit because you just said your son was a nerd. He's in good company. I believe I'm a nerd too. So definitely, when y'all come a little rock, when y'all both come a little rock. Yes. I want to meet him. We're gonna put him in VIP section, nerd sections. Yeah. So definitely. I mean, hey, I'm like, you know what? I'm a geek, man. But I'm a different kind of geek because when you see me in person, people, they'll expect athlete and physically an athlete or whatever. I mean, I was a boxer and a football player, but I was a track runner, but I was also academic All-American. Not bragging on nothing but the Lord, but I was academic All-American. So I'm like, hey, I was that nerd. People laughed at me, but I'm like, it's okay. Laugh all you want. And I was like your son, taking pictures, I'm gonna take a picture of y'all right now. Boom. But definitely, to your question, I like to speak the language, and my son helps me out. He's 32, but he helps me out with, he graduated in 2017. So now, well, watch this. He attended the same school where I taught at for 4 or 5 years, and he did not take my class. How did he avoid taking his dad, right? So he got away with that. So he taught. He was able to. Right. He didn't want to take my class. And shout out to Kayla, my son. He's probably watching. But definitely, but teaching a course where there's a 25-year difference with age, or some cases 30 years. Me being 50 and the students being 20, 21, some 19. I got a student now. He's my old head. He's 26. He's the old head. So
he's
He's the old head, right?
And they call them punk or something. I don't even know. I'm like, you're calling 26-year-old punk? What?
Right, he's the old head. But hey, we have to look at it because I'm Generation X. I was born in the mid-'70s. I'm like, look, I'm not old, but I'm not young. I'm like in the middle. So it's like I'm classic. I'm not old, but I'm vintage. Instead of saying old, like we're classic, y'all. We're classic. We're always in style. So, we're vintage.
I don't know. Kids now know it's about being born in the 1900s. I think we need to rethink some things.
Right. They're like, wow, you was born in 1970? I'm like, yes.
Well, you know what? You look good for you. You know what? You take care of yourself because you look good for your age. Because I'll be 44 this month. On April 23rd, I'll be 44 years old. And you see how these people in this generation looking now. It's like I said, we've been in law enforcement. Laresa just recently retired from law enforcement. I say she retired after 25 years. I say that loosely. She retired in 25 years.
I'll be 46. Really
but still young.
Awesome.
But people around our age group, they're looking like they're like 70, 80 years old. They're looking rough.
They do.
Because I was like, I work in law enforcement, still working in law enforcement. And I seen this guy. This guy, like, he about 60, but he was the same age I am. Born the same year, 1982. And this guy looked like he was about in his late 60s. But it showed how bad the streets are. Drugs, alcohol. The streets has really destroyed our people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not speaking for any other community because I'm talking about our community, of course, because it's been the most damaging. And another thing is being affected by mental health as well, because like I said, we work in law enforcement, so we see a lot of inmates suffering with mental health really bad, and really understanding how to reach them. It's not about beating up someone. Everybody think the last thing is put violence on a mental health person, and we have to change that narrative.
Right.
Well, I think it kind of goes back to what Mr. Edmond had said earlier about having the ability to have employment decreases the fact of just crime in general and people in jail and people being incarcerated, and that is so true. I'll never forget this young man. I don't remember this man's name to save my life, but he remembered me. And this was during a time in my career where I was like, when I tell you, like, how I'm talking right now, no, never, ever. Like, my personality totally changed. My insights, how I thought about things and thought about the world, even though I knew about everything. I knew about the injustice. I knew about the red line, and I knew about so much, but unless it affected me or my family, I didn't care. I think that, it really makes a difference when you decide to step out of that selfishness of just caring about yourself and the immediate people around you and start caring about your community. And I remember him telling me, he said, you told me that I should never give up and that I can get out there and find a job. He said, don't get discouraged about it because people are going to always come. I think I talked to him like a mother, and I was like, that sounds like me, because this is the same thing that I tell my sons. I have 2 sons and a daughter, and my oldest is 30, and I had him very young. So, he saw me graduate. So this is something that I had to make sure I teach him. It was something that it was on my heart, teach him. So I think when I talked to this inmate and he told me, he said, when I got out, that's exactly what I did. He said, I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you because your words actually changed my life. I got out. He was working at an airfield. I was like, really? And he was making really good money. He said, I just called my boss and I just told him that he knew about my past. He knew about everything. He gave me a chance. That's my first job I've ever had in my life. And he said, I still remember you. And I just want to say thank you. And when I tell you that changed my life, it did, because I was like, dang. And it just I remember, and it just made me recall all of the educators and the people that guided me along the way. People that encouraged me to do well, even after having a baby so young. The love was still there from strangers, from, just like I said, from my teachers, especially my teachers. I loved my teachers and they loved me. I used to get called teacher's pet all the time, right? So
they still say their word. They still say their word.
I have no idea. But
I ain't heard that in so long. They still say
I know. I used to get called that all the time. So, but I was just like, it was a very special moment. So, it made me look at things different. And this is one of the reasons of why this podcast is so important to me. To have people like you on this show, it makes all the difference in the world. And you are making a difference. We should not be defined by our mistakes. We should not be defined by anything that people try to seed in our brain, because people will plant seeds in there, and that's all it takes. It just takes something negative, and that's all it takes for you to spiral downward. And that's why I commend you on just being in education, because it is very hard. It is a very hard field, especially nowadays. I hear so many stories from educators, from the middle school level, from the high school level, because all of my ex-husband's family, all of them were teachers. My father-in-law is a history teacher. And I actually, and he know a lot about history. So I knew a lot about history through them. It never really interested me until they started talking about it. And then I started let me do my own little history. Let me do my own little search here. I was more of the science person. So, when I heard that, I was like, man, you know what? Education is a very hard field, and I've got to commend these teachers these days. And they're not paying them enough. Let's just put it that way. They're not paying these teachers enough, But
you gotta think about it. Oh, I'm gonna commend you for that. But you also have to think about teaching, and teachers are the only profession where everybody has to have a teacher.
Yes.
And I remember when LeBron James was in high school and the teachers were in South Korea. I tried to go to South Korea, y'all, I kid you not, because I saw what the teachers were making over in Asia. And so I was like, okay, I got my passport. Hey, what's stopping me? So I was really contemplating of not being a college professor, but just going into education in South Korea. And I have a colleague, she's in the UAE. She's making like $6,000 a month, rent free, but she has to dress a certain kind of way. In those Muslim countries, you have to cover up your entire body, out of respect for that. So again, but for $6,000, I'll cover up my whole face.
Wow.
So, what I'm saying? I cover up everything, but definitely.
I don't know if I can keep my mouth closed, but I think I'll get in trouble. I'll go to prison. I don't know. I'll go to prison.
Yeah. And so I'm like, wow, rent free. They give you a stipend, and that was maybe 12, 15 years ago. But I know it may be a little bit different with the sensitive information that's going on now in this world. And so but yeah, with teachers, that whole realm. My wife's been a teacher for 26 years. She's been teaching for a while. She's tired of it. Of course, we come home sometimes. I'm talking about college young adults. They're not kids like you were saying. These are grown folks, but I'm thinking, come on. I'm scratching my head like, was I like that when I was 22? These young people, they're different. They're different. So I'm like, come on, y'all. Y'all have these smart devices. I got phones, and you should have no way of asking me a question about something when you have a smart device. But for some reason, we're in these spaces where I'm thinking, okay, is this the Twilight Zone? Let me see what time it is. So I'm asking myself these questions.
I think they want that. I think they want that connection though, because they are so hooked on their devices though. I mean, even though when we talk, and I know the conversation was headed towards AI, and I know these students and these young adults, they know so much about technology, but I think technology has definitely played such a huge role in them not being able to communicate with other people. So, I mean, even when I give cash, they're looking at me like the first thing when I go and I pay for something, they're not looking for cash. The thing they give me is the thing for my tap. I'll be like, here's cash. And they don't know how to give me my change back. And I'm like, okay, well, or if I give them like 2 cents over and it's 98, like, just give me the $1 back. Here you go. Like, I'm just like, golly, like this is becoming obsolete now. And so everything is technology based, With that being said though, what do you think? And I want to incorporate the generation of Black leaders. What does success look like for the next generation of Black leaders? What do you think about that?
I think there's a gap, and to be totally transparent, I'm looking at, again, being a baby of the mid-'70s, a teenager in the '80s, I'm looking like, okay, King, that era of leadership, we don't see that no more.
We don't.
And I'm sensitive to it because are you willing to pay the price with your life for us as a people who has been killed, assassinated since 1968? Nobody. And so, again, we have a space that we're in now, the post-King era, now, of course, the post-Jesse Jackson era, if that makes any sense, because he was on that balcony when King was killed just 2 hours away in Memphis, 7 hours away from where y'all at. He was in that space. He had to make some adjustments. Jesse did. And I was telling people, and this is tying into your question, how Jesse Jackson, politically speaking, is the grandfather to Donald Trump. People don't realize that. Think about what I just said. Jesse Jackson in '84 and '88, Run Jesse Run. I remember that. He ran for president. He was the first man of minority color in this country to get white folks to vote for him. Watch this. Now, without Jesse, there would be no Barack Obama. None at all. Barack tells that at his funeral. And so Jesse laid that foundation. He was a serious candidate for the Democratic ticket. LGBTQ, before they called it that, gay people voted for Jesse Jackson. Now, of course, it's a little different, but I say that because Barack Obama followed the blueprint of Jesse. Barack was the first president of the millennium to be a man of minority color in this country that has melanin, but to win the Caucasian vote. He won the Latino vote. He won the black vote, obviously. And so that helped tip us over. But here's the catch now. People are still mad at Barack Obama from 15 years ago. That's why they voted for Trump. It was the Trump effect. It's only because of Barack Obama. Even to this day, this man, number 47, cannot have a conversation without throwing Barack Obama and Michelle under the bus every chance he gets. He's the reason why, he being Barack, is the only reason why we have a madman as president now in Donald Trump. That's the only reason why. Because people were so frustrated that a black man who was a 2-time president, 2 times, no impeachments, 2 times, no divorces, 2 times, no sexual scandals, 2 times, president, clean, stop smoking. And of course, to this day, they still can't stand him. They still blame him, the issues of today on Barack Obama, So that's why I call Donald Trump the grandson of Jesse Jackson from a political spectrum, okay? Because there would be no Donald Trump without, of course, Barack Obama, and no Barack without Jesse. And of course, Shirley Chisholm obviously did it before he did in 1972. And so, but we don't talk about her too much. But getting to that point
I
and
do
making
remember
it.
that. Like, I remember reading about that though. I actually read
Oh,
about that. Yeah, I did. I
yes,
read about that. Yeah,
yes,
that
ma'am,
was a good
definitely.
read. That was a good
And
read.
so, but that's my job to make these connections with young people, with these Generation Z. They're Generation Z. Our children, your son and my son, they're millennials. They're in their 30s. They're millennials. And so, but now these 17 and 18-year-olds, they're Generation Z or Generation Start Over, if you will. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, start over, right. So they were born into this world, even our children, to an extent, with devices in their hands. And I'm like,
Yeah.
come on. I got a friend now. She's younger than me. She's like 45, but she's a publicist. She's a publicist for celebrities. She's got a
Okay.
son. He's 17. Right. And I want y'all to interview her too. I'll give you her information. She's well to do in terms of her intel, but she told me this about a month ago when I was the Grand Marshal for the country's largest African American History Parade. She was there, and she was like, "Look, I don't let my two sons. She's got two black sons. One's 14, one's 17. She didn't allow them to have, and this is not for everybody. This just works for her family, you know. But she was like, I can't expose them to too much on social media because I see what it's doing to these young people in terms of going into spasms when you take their phones, and it's really a hindrance of growth when you have a phone in your hand all the time
Yeah.
or a pad or a device. There could be such thing as too much of that. Even as me as a 50-year-old, I'm like, look, I'm gonna go to the movie with my wife. I'm gonna leave my phone. I'm gonna turn it off. Okay, let me back up. For the first time in 25 years, this past Christmas, I'm gonna come real close and say this. I had Christmas dinner with my wife with no computer in front of me, no phone, no TV. It felt so liberating. I had a chance to eat a meal with no device in front of me. We haven't done that in a while. I challenge all the listeners, all the viewers, to eat a meal without your cell phone, to look at your spouse, your child, look at your boyfriend, or have a conversation without a device. It's hard to do, but now, knowing that I can do it in the name of Jesus' liberation, I did it. I had a meal. I had 2 meals, y'all. I'm spazzing out because I had 2 meals without a smart device. I had my laptop, my phone, no TV. It was just me and Monica having a conversation. It was so liberating. We have the freedom to say no and just try it for one time. Say no to the world, y'all. Say no. It feels so good to say no to just one time. It's so liberating. Look, I'm a slave. I'm a runaway slave now. Holla. I'm running away. So again, it feels good to do that. I'm telling you, try to eat a meal without your phone. Your body's going to be like,
Yeah.
I used to do that. I feel you. No, that was a staple in my household whenever my kids were growing up. And like we would eat dinner. Like it was a must. If I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning, you're gonna sit here and you're gonna eat dinner and we're gonna talk about the day. And that's my son's except my daughter, even she don't even really be on the thing, but they don't really be on their devices like that. But it's unfortunate that I can't get them at the dinner table now. But when they were younger, no devices at the dinner table. But no, I can't get them at the dinner table now. They're gone. I'm an empty nester, except my youngest. He's 19. And I'm sad. I don't know. That makes me really sad.
Yes.
But you're right. It is very liberating. It is liberating.
Yes.
Yeah, because speaking on that, I think it's a place here. So many years ago, it's a cabin where you have to eliminate your phone. You use the cabin that you go to. You can't take your phone with you. You do have your phone. You got to put it off into some type of bag, whatever. And it's just you and your significant other. Y'all just really just connecting without the devices and stuff like that. And I think that was an interesting place we had to go to.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I can do that.
Well, cause they eliminate their phones and everything. And their significant other, they just get there and they just interact with each other without social media, the phone. They just really just rekindle and getting to know each other and stuff like that and have a real life conversation. Reviving. Because think about it, before all this stuff, that's what we had. We had verbal communication. Now we don't need to do much of that because when we go out somewhere, we always in our phone, we always in our tablet, and we never had a real conversation with each other. So
Yeah.
I'm
That
glad you
is
brought
true.
that up. That's very, very important.
That is
Yes.
true.
Yes.
So, well, I do have another question because I know we are
Okay.
getting close to that time. And this is okay. So, how can people stay connected with your work and your mission? How can they, like, if they want to, if the new, I know because we have talked about some very interesting stuff, and sometimes hey, it happens. I'm sorry, but because when you are passionate and you love to talk about certain things, it's gonna come out. Like we can have a 2-hour segment on this, but we know how time is precious. But getting back to the event, if people wanted to reach out and become become an additional vendor or anything, how would they do that? How would they do that for the future?
Yes.
How will they stay connected with the work that all the colleges and stuff are doing? Like if they wanted to, like even if there's another university, college, or anything that wanted to connect, how would they do that?
Yes. They could reach out to the website, which is www.hbcubws.org. Again, www.hbcubws.org. That website is universally recognized as a one-stop shop for all things relevant to the experience of the annual HBCU Black Wall Street Career Fest, but also the programs that we have all around the year, whether it's me speaking or going to a location or having Zoom sessions. I'll do a lot of mentoring. And again, my mentors have mentors, and I'm being mentored by them, and I'm mentoring some people. And so, and the people that I mentor, they're mentoring others. So it's those multiple steps, that those layers. It's a multi-layered relationship where we talk about net capacity, but also they can follow me on my Facebook page, which is at Edmond W. Davis. You can find me along those lines there. But more importantly, I believe the Career Fest, they can go to the Facebook page for the Career Fest, which we keep updated. We got students on there now, just kind of, making sure things are kept up to date and freshened off. Also, those that are listening can reach out to my assistant, who is Tariq. Tariq is pretty much the guy behind the scenes making things happen when I'm not around. And he keeps track of things. Yeah. And so definitely I'm very indebted to him for what he does. And his number is 501-773-2039. 501-773-2039. When someone wants to reach out to me, because sometimes I have to look at my schedule to make sure whether I'm in Atlanta or in Dallas, if I'm ever invited to go to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I want to, be able to take you guys out to eat and also be able to, get on the show and things like that in the future coming up, maybe for Juneteenth, and we'll talk about that later. But definitely, that's how people can reach out to me the best, is through social media or, of course, the website. Oh, and also I forgot about this. As far as the www.edmondwdavis.com. I forgot about that. www.edmondwdavis.com. www.edmondwdavis.com. That is another platform where my team is also checking that frequently, or a lot of times I get a message from my cell phone from what people leave in comments about what they like, what they dislike, and I welcome those who want to be critical. I welcome that as well. I don't always wrap around and grab it, but I do welcome those conversations, those healthy dialogues. We don't have to always agree on things to be friends, We can have those conversations to where, we don't come to fisticuffs or get to the point that we're cussing at each other, but let's have that honest dialogue about your side, our side, but then let's talk about the truth. And so we want to have that medium. And so, we can have the evidence. We can look at all sides and all angles. I don't ever have a conclusion unless I hear from all sides of the story. Then I'm going to pray on it and figure out, how can we do this together. And so they can reach me out via the website for me as a speaker, or, of course, the website for the National HBCU Black Wall Street Career Fest, or there's another medium too. But those are the major platforms to reach the people who are behind the scenes making things working, because I ain't nothing without these people that's standing right next to me. They're not behind me or in front of me. They're right next to me. There's a number of other people, like 15 other folks that are doing things behind the scenes. I'm just the front man, but I ain't nothing without these folks. I got to give credit to the Lord for putting them in my life and for putting me in their lives. Because again, they're making it happen. They're like superhuman. They're like the Avengers, like y'all. Y'all like the dynamic duo. They're like the Avengers, man. So again, I appreciate the Lord for what He's doing in you guys' lives, with your children, with your awesome families, and for this platform here, but also what He's doing here in Little Rock. And hey, it all goes back to Him, but He's using us and using our gifts to be able to be a blessing to other people, because our gifts don't go to us, they go through us.
That's right.
Yes, yes. Shout out to Arkansas. Look here, my granny is actually she's actually originally from there. Her mother.
Okay.
And so yeah, so I got a shout out. Yes, I got a shout out.
You gotta come on up. You gotta come on up. Yeah.
And they migrated to Louisiana. So yeah, I got a shout out to them. I always wanted to visit. So yes.
Man, awesome. Yes. Man, awesome stuff. And before we go into, I want to give a big shout out to everybody that's tuning in on the Instagram side. Big shout out to Miss K. I want to butcher your name. Big shout out to Mayor candidate Peyton Jackson. She was in the comments. So big shout out to her. And also big shout out to Christian girl out of California that's in the comment section as well. She said right and she threw up the hand. So we want to acknowledge everyone that's watching us on the Instagram side, and also those that's watching us on YouTube side as well. And also we always want to acknowledge our followers. So big shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Checking out today's episode with our featured guest, Edmond W. Davis. That name sounds so powerful, sir. Edmond W. Davis, so prestige, so royalty.
So, what are your final words for the audience attending the Career Fest?
Yes, my final words, and again, I want to thank you guys for allowing me on this awesome podcast, JustSayN Podcast. I really appreciate it. But my final words for this segment here, as I pray and hope that I'll be invited to come back soon, is my first, and also definitely, you guys are more than welcome to come up here, and the listeners, the avenue is just 5 hours if you're there to your east. And again, there's several hotel rooms still available. There's plenty of food. If y'all come, we're going to feed you, and you're going to get great, not just nourishment, but more importantly, you're going to get some spiritual food. You can come to church with us on Sunday and have a great time before you head back on the road. But my final words for this podcast is that, learning is essential, and not just essential by the aspect of you just talking about education. Sometimes you can have a conversation and don't talk about education, but you're still learning. And so that's interesting. But also know that HBCUs are alive and well. They have a place. They're not by mistake. There's no happenstances. There's no coincidences. There's no issues with that. They're in place. And also Black Wall Street, in order to look back and see what we've done in the past, to move forward, that's something we have to do. And so I challenge young people to figure out, outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, there's many of other Black Wall Streets in America, whether it's in Philly, Detroit, North Carolina, here in Little Rock. There are plenty in Dallas. There's plenty of in Fort Worth. There's plenty of other Black Wall Streets that you don't seldom hear about. So have that as a project, Professor Davis or Edmond W. Davis. I want to give everybody, your listeners, an assignment. Find out the area of the Black Wall Street in your zip code, in your town, in your neighborhood, on your block, and who was a part of that. Ask and see if your family members know of it. They have to be a certain age, though. If they're 20 years old, they may not know too much. But if they're 40, 50, 60, 70, they may know a whole lot about these various Black Wall Streets, okay? So make that connection, make that path, and again, bring it back to the show, bring it back, and let's have that conversation.
Wonderful. Oh, definitely. Thank you so much.
We love it. We do. We love it. And like I said, we appreciate you again, Mr. Davis, to take time out, hang out with me and Lo on this extraordinary podcast from Gateway 8082. And like I said, we keep up the great work. It's awesome what you're doing. I felt the power and anointing on this podcast, on all the shows that we do. And we know that it's not in vain. We know it's God ordained. So we love that part. But by the grade of the part, we at that time, I know you was at a meeting, and we thank you for taking time out your schedule your meeting. I know you're a very productive man. We don't want to hold you up. But before we get ready to go, so Lo, you have anything you want to share?
I do. Yeah, I do. I do want to say, because we love to show love to all our past guests, especially when they are doing wonderful things in the community. So I want to shout out to Audrey. She has an event coming up, and that is to celebrate autism. She is a nonprofit organization, and it is RAVE. They have the activity will start April the 11th. It'll be from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. We will have it on our website. Well, I'm sorry, we will have it on. It will be on the Rave website. So she was a guest on the show. For those who follow us, remember to go ahead and look at it. And that is Rave, Raave. And that is to show love to and give all types of different things to parents who with children that may or may not have autism, but it's free for everybody. So I do want to say, go ahead, attend that. That is something that is happening here in Dallas. It's going to be on 6200 East Grand Avenue here in Dallas, like I said. Check it out for sure. Shout out to Miss Jones. She's I like to call Miss Jones one of our sponsors because she really is. She is one of our sponsors. Thank you, Miss Jones. You have been great. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you, Miss Jones. And a shout out to the many authors she has brought our way. Black authors, writers, poetry. I mean, the list can go on. And thank God we are booked. We are booked for April. Like we are halfway booked for May. Like God is keeping us working, and that is what we want. Remember right. That is what we want. Hey, everything, there's a starting point for everything to get to where we want to be, so make sure you are subscribing, make sure you are hitting that like button, make sure you are sharing. We are getting the views, but look, we need that love and that support. Okay, that's what we need to do in order to reach as many people out there. We are not limited to DFW. As you can see, we have like a lot of guests that are everywhere, like Chicago, like Alabama, like we love our people, okay, from all over.
Right, most definitely. We do appreciate you once again, and y'all put it on your calendar. It's going to be April the 17th to the 18th in Little Rock, Arkansas. It is free admission, so go ahead, get logged in, get plugged in. Your life would never be the same. So it's going to be the 5th annual Black Wall Street Career Fest 2026, April 17th through the 18th from 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. Little Rock, Arkansas. It is free admission. There is no excuse. Can't say I don't got no money.
Exactly.
Stop saying I don't have no. Right. You may preparation for everything else, but this is a free admission. So y'all come on out, bring your family, bring your children, bring the family, bring some friends. It's gonna be in Little Rock, Arkansas. Like I said, if you're in the DFW, just 5 hours away, correct? 5 hours away. So hey, it'll be a great road trip. Make it a trip. Make it a family trip, right? And it's historical. It's a historical thing. Really for real, that it's a family can actually go to explore, learn, and be opened up to new ideas in a new world. And it's here. It's really here. We got to get God.
Can I say one more thing, too?
Yeah, go ahead.
Man, I mean, this is so unique right now. I mean, God is putting so much light on this. I got to put on my shades for y'all right here. Okay, so again, there's so much light going on right here. I got to put the shades on right here because God is shining a light on this show. And again, it's because of the work that y'all doing. So, look, I got to get some shade right here because y'all got it blowing up over there. I love it. Yeah.
Man,
thank you so much, Mr. Edmond, because we want educators. We want universities to show up and show out and tell us about what is going on. Hey, I tried. I'm still waiting on Grand Canyon University. It's and that's the university I attend. So where you at, Grand Canyon? So I didn't mean to put them on the spot, but we want that. We want that. Okay, I did, but I didn't mean to like that. But thank you so much, guys. Remember, if you cannot attend this time, look, there's no excuse for the next time. Okay, you have www.edmonddavis.com. I mean, you have the number there. Like, there's no excuse. Okay, make it a family trip. Like, look, I'm about to say Jackson again. Like Ferman said, hey, this is my brother from another mother. Like he said, there's no excuse. It's free. You make it like if you can go to that little to the the little club down the street for nothing and pay $30-$40 to get in, you can make time for something that is going to benefit you, your community. Like, please just go ahead, give it a try, test it out. You never know what you're going to get. But with that being said, We are out of here. Thank you once again, Mr. Edmond. And look, the light is shining on you. You just look, the light is shining on you, brother. Look here. If I put on shades, I can't see. But look, the light is shining. Oh, okay. See you. That's why. Look, love it.
Our glasses segment,
Yes. All right, then, y'all. We are out of here for today. Thank you once again with my boy, with your girl, Laresa. I got to get that retro, that 80s retro, aka Lo. And your boy Ferman, and your without him, because I gotta give the flowers to Ferman, okay? Because without him, there's no me. Without me, there's no him in this year's show. We are in it together, and we're not here to lose, okay? We're winning.
That's right. And we do. I appreciate you as well. I always appreciate you, Lo, as well. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep striving for higher heights. So I applaud you and I support you. So keep doing what you're doing as well. Mr. Davis, I'll let you go, sir. Want you to enjoy the rest of your evening. Big shout out to your lovely family and your wife as well. And I got to give you kudos. You and your wife, y'all started a business together. That's a beautiful thing. That's what you mentioned that. So I gotta acknowledge that as well. So that's a beautiful thing. Y'all keep it a great word. We love to have you and your wife on here next time. We love to have a conversation with y'all.
Yes, let's do that.
We'll make it happen. We'll make that happen.
We're gonna make it happen for real. Yes, for sure.
Yes, let's do that.
Yes, sir. Right. Yes, sir. So we out this thing. All right. Have a great day, and we'll see y'all next Wednesday here on the JustSayN Podcast from Gateway 8082. I will be back Saturday on the other platform, Walking This Way, this Saturday at 11. More content, more work, more striving, especially building up Gateway Media. So we got to put in the work. So grind is real. The grind is real. So we'll let y'all go.
Yeah, shout out to Gateway Media 8082. Yes.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all. Y'all have a great day.
All right. Peace out. God bless
you. Thank you, Mr. Edmond. You've been
great.
Thank you.
I'm smiling. I'm like a kid in the candy store again. I mean,